Good morning, everybody. It's Lee. It is the morning of March 23rd. It's very early in the morning. And I'm here at the office at Citizen Journalism School. And I wanted to give you guys an update. If you follow me on Twitter or whatever, because it kind of made news, yesterday I announced I was leaving Breitbart. I talked enough about it publicly. I'll have Shane link to a couple of the the periscopes here if you want to watch the whole periscopes, including the ones that led up to it. It's a lot to watch, I'll be honest with you. If there's, so let me talk about this from a Citizen Journalism School perspective. First off, the thing you need to know is this is nothing but good for Citizen Journalism School. This move is going to allow me to grow my platform personally in terms of the people I can talk to, in terms of doing media appearances, in terms of working with other outlets, and still hopefully doing some stuff with Breitbart in the future. Just having a better relationship with sometimes you've got your career and you've got a job, right? If your career is being hurt by your job, you have to go with your career. Does that make sense? In other words, if your job is holding you back from doing everything you could and should be doing, then you just have to leave the job. A job is just a job. And although, like I say, there are certain aspects of working at Breitbart that I've liked, there are other aspects that I've gotten to a point where they're holding me back, and when I'm not able to do my best work as a journalist there because of things people are telling me to do, it's time to go. And I've gone before, and I may be back at some point, but I would not go back unless I were in some editorial or managerial position, unless I did the radio. Because it's not where I should be. After doing this for 8 years, I shouldn't be just a reporter, even just the lead investigative reporter. Those were discussions that I had, and I've been very open about it, very open publicly about it too. And whatever, sometimes it doesn't work out. But for Citizen Journalism School, it's going to be nothing but good. Now, a few things that are happening today. We'll have a couple of new lessons up today. We'll send you an email about that later on today. We're going to have a new video up about giving you your own website free, including hosting if you're interested. That video is going to explain everything. There's going to be a course associated with it to get you up to speed with WordPress. That's another thing we have coming. I'm going to kick my podcast up again. I've already gotten a number of people to agree to be part of it, and I expect to get more. Lauren Southern is going to be on. Luke from We Are Change is going to be on. Those two I can tell you for sure. Then there's a few other people who are going to be on the show for sure. Let me try to think what else. There's just a bunch going on. I'm also building my own platforms out. Feel free to ask questions. If I can tell you, I will tell you. I'm not going to talk about internal stuff at Breitbart, really. I can talk about my feelings about stuff, but I've talked about those. And really, it's a matter of getting on with the work, because I have a lot of big stories to cover. So that's it. Like I say, that's the quick update on that this morning. I will leave you with one thing like this. Your career, in a sense, is a story. Let me explain. There's a sense in which your career is a story. Your resume explains where you were at some points, what you were doing. So for instance, if I say to you, I was working at Access Hollywood, that's a career, right? I was working at Access Hollywood. when I started doing YouTube comedy, and that ended up with me working for the Huffington Post. See, it's a story. Then, while writing for Huffington Post, I met Andrew Breitbart. Then I started working with him on the Pigford story. Then I worked with Andrew. He died. I stayed at the company for a while. Then I left to go to Beirut. You see what I'm saying? So this is all a story. It's really me talking about my jobs, but it's a story. So the part of the story now is I came to Washington, D.C. I was starting to get some notice and acclaim and people noticing the work I was doing more and making connections with people. And then I left Breitbart really to be able to pursue those opportunities. That's the way to view it in terms of the story. And because the opportunities that I had at Breitbart were limiting me. That's it. And some of the things were good, but I've talked about the radio. I've said I want to do radio. I want to do more radio. So at Breitbart, I was limited to the amount of radio I was going to be able to do. So I want to be in a position where I'm not limited, and I'm going to be pursuing that very, very actively. And hopefully I'll have some announcement for you on that soon. Don't have anything for you yet, but I can tell you that I'm working on that actively right now. So anyway, your career too is a story. What's your story? Where are you right now? What's the next step in your story? What can you do to set up the step for yourself? Think of your career that way. I'm making this up, you know. I've been working as a nurse. Then I was very interested in news. Then I took this course in journalism and I started to meet people and we started a website and whatever it is, right? You see what I'm saying? Your career is your story. It's part of the story of your life. And like a story, you get to write it. You get to decide what you're doing. And you cannot let other people who are writing their own stories too stop you from writing your own story. Does that make sense? And I don't want to get into the spiritual stuff too much because, like I say, I don't really like to put that on people. But as much as I believe that and think I'm writing my own story, I also know that I'm part of a bigger story, right? That's my belief. I'm part of a bigger story. And I don't always get to write that part. But what I found is when you start to write your own story, things pop up in your path that become very interesting. So that's the way I'm going to leave it with you today. Think about your own story. Shane's got an email coming out for you soon. We have a lot more material. Till next time, I'm Lee Stranahan. Bye-bye.